Hi everyone, I'm Stefano. Welcome back to my channel, FragRobe, your fragrance wardrobe. In this channel, we are talking about fragrances and we try together to build a bigger and better fragrance wardrobe. If it's your first time here or if you haven't done it yet, please consider clicking the subscribe button. It's gonna really help the channel. In this video, I want to share my top 5 for the best release of 2020. So out of all the fragrances that they have been released in this year and then I've bought and I've tested, those are basically my top 5 for the best release of 2020. And without further ado, let's jump straight in. At number 5 spot, Norton & Wilson Gravitas Pour Homme. I've purchased this a few months ago, I think it was like September or something. This is really interesting. If you don't know, the mind behind this is Mr. Smelly, which is a really big and famous fragrance YouTuber. And the nose behind this is the English master perfumer John Stephen. So there was a collaboration between these two guys, and then we have Gravitas Pour Homme. Gravitas Pour Homme is really interesting. It's a fougere. I personally, I'm not the biggest fan of fougere, so I like, let's say, more oriental kind of fragrances. But this one is a fougere really well done. So I really enjoy wearing this. We have a really citrusy top with mandarin, lavender and bergamot. Lots of spices in the heart with cardamom, coriander and pepper, and a solid base with patchouli, oak moss, vanilla and some ambergris as well. So this is a really classic, really stylish barbershop fougere, a little bit old school but with a modern touch. That's why it's good, that's why it's really clever. So I think they've done a really good job to have the vibe of a, let's say, old school fougere, but adding a couple of touches just to make it modern, just to make it perfect for these days. So it's not as sharp, not as cutting like the old school fougere, because we've got some sweetness then that comes through that really balance and levels things up. So you've got the feeling of course, wearing a beautiful fougere, but with this modern touch, I think that you will find absolutely brilliant. Norton & Wilson Gravitas Pour Homme, number 5 spot. And number 4 spot, Naso Matto Fantomas. To be honest, nobody was expecting this, so it was kind of a surprise when it was announced, because I think we thought that just the Naso Matto line was just ended. But then, so it was a really pleasant and a really good surprise to have another release from Alessandro Gualtieri, which is the nose and the creative director behind the old Naso Matto line. So it was really cool to have this. This is the newest release from the line. The typical Naso Matto bottle, like 30 ml with a really big cap. I've got a full review that you can check here, where I go through the whole fragrance if you're interested. What to say is the typical Naso Matto DNA. So we already know that is something which is complex and something which is definitely not mass appealing. So this is a proper niche fragrance. But this is interesting. This, I think, that can be potentially a little bit more mass appealing compared maybe to some of the other offering in the brand. There is this melon marine vibe going on, so there is this sweetness in the opening, but it's not too sweet because there is a cap on that. All the sweetness just goes till a certain point, and at some point there is something else in the base, probably the musk that Alessandro Gualtieri often uses, that brings things just on the right level of being, again, sweet but not too much, so that there is something else, of course, definitely going on. Another characteristic of this is you really have the feeling that this is hairy. So the advertising, there was like fog machines and whatnot. All that advertising, I think, is really fit. So this fragrance really fit the advertising, or the other way around, if you will, because you've got really the feeling that is not thick, something you are not spraying something thick on your skin, but you've got this hairiness. I don't know how to explain. So it is like all the notes are a little bit diluted, but in a good way. So super interesting. Latest release from Nasomatto, Fantomas, number 4 spot. And number 3 spot, Jean Paul Gaultier, Male Le Parfum. As you might know, I'm more like a niche guy than a designer. Just for a personal preference, I own way more niche fragrances than design fragrances, so to speak. But that doesn't mean that when there is some really good designer, I'm all over it. I mean, I really quite like wearing it. So I think this one was a really great release. In my eyes, this is the best flanker of all the Le Male line. What they've done, they really took and captured the Le Male DNA that, of course, you can definitely feel in here, but they really made it more interesting. In my eyes, they've perfected it, made it more classy, more oriental, more serious, if you will, more mature. We've got cardamom, lavender, iris, and then we've got this vanilla base that really makes it, more oriental, more interesting. Just give it a depth, a seriousness. So yeah, I really quite like it. I wore this quite a few times since I got it. I think that is super interesting. It's not crazy expensive, so yeah, definitely if you like Le Male, definitely check this out. Jean Paul Gaultier, Male Le Parfum, number 3 spot. And number 2 spot, Roja Parfum, Burlington 1819. This is the latest release from the Roja Parfum line, and it's super interesting. This is really good. I've got a full review of this if you want to check it out. Where that was actually the very first review on this channel. So yeah, I think I'm quite attached, like sentimentally attached with this fragrance. This fragrance means a lot to me. But besides that, it's a really good one. This fragrance celebrates the Burlington Arcade, which is here in London, where at number 51 we can find the flagship store, the Roja Boutique. It comes in an EDP concentration, and the format, the bottle size, is just this, which is 100 ml. And of course, the bottle is just amazing because this is really up there with the Roja standards. So this bottle is just, the whole presentation actually is just gorgeous. The fragrance itself is quite complex. We find in the opening potentially one of the best citrus opening ever that I have ever smelled in my whole life. The opening on this is that good. It starts really bright with this massive burst of citruses, but after a while it turns into something a little bit more dark, a little bit more interesting and mysterious. We've got hints of tobacco and booziness with rum, and some sweetness in the base. We've got vanilla, benzoin, labdanum and saffron. This is an all-year fragrance. I think definitely that you can really wear this even during summertime, maybe if it's not super hot, springtime, fall, even winter. I mean, even if it's not too cold, even in winter time, maybe daytime, I think it's perfect. So I think performance-wise is like about the 7 to 8 hour mark. So the performance just got better. I think so. If you've got this and maybe you've complained at the beginning that the performance weren't great, try to revisit, try to grab it from your shelf and see if after a few months has made like any difference. I think that you will find this better. Let's see. Male Le Parfum, Burlington 1819, number 2 spot. At a number 1 spot, so in my opinion, the best release for 2020 by Kilian, Angel Share. The latest release, along with Roses on Ice by Kilian, and this release was really great. I unfortunately don't own yet Roses on Ice. For sure I'm gonna buy it really soon, but I wanted to focus on this because as soon as I read the notes and everything, yes, this is all the notes in here are really up of my alley. This is what I really like in a fragrance. I've got a full review of Angel Share too, if you wanna check it out. Starting with the gorgeous presentation. So this is a completely different look. If you are like familiar with the Kilian bottle, they are really well defined, the shape and the size. So with this new line, because Angel Share and Roses on Ice, they basically open a brand new olfactive category, sorry, in the Kilian world, in a Kilian brand, so to speak. So both have this really interesting bottle concept, which is basically, in this case, a glass of cognac. So this is the top. It just looks like a beautiful glass of cognac. The fragrance itself is just brilliant. It's a boozy, gourmandy, mass appealing with a niche quality. I don't know if that makes sense, but okay. So what this is not a groundbreaking fragrance. So when you smell this, you probably won't say, oh my God, I've never smelled something like this. No, there are so many notes in here that just reminds you so many different fragrances. So it is not groundbreaking or anything like that, but on the other end, is a really well-made fragrance. Perfect for the cooler months, so the release of this was perfect too, was spot on. Fall and winter, absolutely perfect for this one. We've got cognac and cinnamon with oak and a vanilla and sandalwood base. So the result is just great. Boozy, sweet, woody, just perfect. That has been a really easy reach. It's a dumb reach for me because I really like it. It's perfect for the weather. So I've put it, I don't know if you can see, a really interesting dent. I mean, I own so many fragrances, so it's not, let's say, that common that I put maybe few ml, maybe, I don't know, 3-4 ml, 5 maybe even. So I really wore this quite a lot during this month. My wife likes it. She wore it a few times too. So this is definitely unisex. 1000% men, women can wear this, no problem. Performance are really good about this one, so you won't be disappointed. Projects well for the first at least couple of hours, and it will last on my skin. I think it lasts 7 to 8 hours, no problem. So really highly recommended. So by Kilian, Angel Share is my most recommended, let's say, fragrance for 2020, number 1 spot. The question of the day is, which are the best 2020 releases? Let's comment down below so we can start a conversation. If you've got any value from this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you can be notified of all my future content. And thank you so very much for watching this. I know that lately the upload haven't been like that regular, just, I mean, life, just being busy, so nothing crazy happened. So I still appreciate so very much your support. And yeah, but for sure from next year, from January, we're gonna come back stronger than ever, trying to push out content and trying to, yeah, just give to you my 2 cents about the future releases or the fragrances that I haven't reviewed yet, and and all these things. And then of course new giveaway, everything, new formats. So hopefully it's gonna be really, really interesting. For now, I just wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I see you next year in 2021. Have a fantastic time with your friends, with your parents. Enjoy Christmas. This has been really tough year 2020 with all COVID and all the other things happen. So yeah, just enjoy, and then hopefully next year is gonna be way better than this one. See you next year. Ciao.